Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're zooming in on a really pivotal moment in digital transformation. It's that exact moment where cutting-edge technology directly hits your bottom line. Yep, we're talking about payment integration. Now, I know, in the enterprise space, it's super easy to just write off payment integration as, a simple IT chore, just some background plumbing, right? But as we're going to see from diving into Softwind's latest industry insights, that mindset, it's fundamentally flawed. Because when you engineer it correctly, a seamless payment layer is a massive driver for business growth, automation, and customer loyalty. It's literally the bridge between a potential buyer and a realized asset. But to really understand what's at stake here, we kind of have to look at the human side of this digital experience.
Okay, picture this scenario. A customer spends 15 minutes thoughtfully browsing your digital storefront. They build the absolute perfect cart, they are hyped, they are ready to convert, they hit checkout, and then, boom, they hit a digital brick wall. They get a payment form that demands like a dozen manual fields, completely refuses to recognize their preferred digital wallet, and when they finally hit submit, it throws this vague, totally unhelpful error code. So what do? They close the tab, and you never hear from them again. The crazy thing is, this isn't some rare glitch in an otherwise perfect system. Unfortunately, this deeply frustrating journey is actually the default experience on a massive share of online platforms right now, and it represents the exact moment where consumer trust just completely breaks down and your digital revenue simply evaporates. Okay, let's dive into the numbers here. The Baymart Institute has actually tracked this friction, and the metric they found is absolutely staggering. The average online cart abandonment rate currently sits at 70.22%. That means more than 7 out of every 10 carts created are just walked away from. And here's the kicker. A significant, highly solvable chunk of this abandonment is driven directly by checkout-related friction. We're talking limited payment options, falsely declined cards, security concerns, and just overly complex non-automated forms. Honestly, when a system lacks modern automation and a premium digital experience, this 70.22%, that's the tax you pay. And to put that into perspective, let's look at the macro impact. We're not just talking about a few lost sales here and there. Baymart estimates that simply designing a better, more modern checkout experience could recover roughly $260 billion in lost orders across US and EU e-commerce alone. $260 billion. I mean, that instantly elevates payment integration from a dusty developer backlog ticket straight to a matter of absolute boardroom importance. It is a premium corporate priority. But hey, the good news? This is actually one of the most fixable problems in digital commerce today, as long as you have the right technology partnership and strategy in place.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll decode payment integration. Second, we'll look at why payments actually drive revenue. Third, we'll lay out this seamless checkout blueprint. And finally, the pitfalls you absolutely need to avoid. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Decoding Payment Integration, behind the Pay button. At its core, payment integration is the sophisticated process of connecting your online platform to a payment gateway, processor, or a broader orchestration layer. The absolute mandate here is that customers can pay securely using whatever method they prefer. Whether that's a card, a digital wallet, or buy now, pay later, they need to do it without ever leaving your branded experience. They really shouldn't feel like they've been suddenly handed off to some third-party site, right? Done correctly, utilizing modern automation interfaces, the ultimate goal of this tech is total invisibility. The user just sees a fast, familiar button that works perfectly on the very first try. So when you look under the hood, a seamless checkout is built on these invisible, high-performance technical layers. First, you have the gateway or processor, which encrypts and transmits the raw data. Then you've got the API or SDK integration that's seamlessly woven right into your app or site. Next up is secure tokenization. This replaces sensitive data with secure tokens, meaning raw card numbers literally never even touch your servers. Then you have intelligent webhooks. These act as the automation muscle, instantly triggering inventory updates and machine speed reconciliations. And finally, wrapping this whole shebang together is the compliance layer, which handles things like PCI DSS and regional regulations automatically. This right here is the modern tech stack that simplifies complex processes and really scales with your enterprise. Moving on to Section 2, why payments drive revenue, from backlog to boardroom. When we break down why people actually abandon their carts, the data is super revealing. Let's look at these specific slices. 19% leave because they lack trust with giving their card details. 10% bail because a card is falsely declined. And 9% leave because their preferred payment method is just missing. If you add all those up, nearly 40% of checkout abandonment is a direct, totally solvable payment integration failure. It's not a marketing issue. Your ads worked, your product page worked, the user absolutely wanted to buy. It was the technology that failed to capture the revenue. And we have to realize the landscape of how people pay is shifting dramatically. Digital wallets like Apple Pay and Google Pay, they're no longer just cute optional extras. They are projected to account for a massive 61% of global e-commerce transaction value by the year 2027. Think about that. If your platform only accepts manually typed card numbers, you are actively opting out of how the majority of modern consumers intend to pay. Seamless digital experiences absolutely demand modern payment methods. No way around it. And let's also look at how alternative payments are reshaping digital experiences and driving scale. Buy now, pay later transaction values are projected to more than double. They're jumping from roughly $334 billion in 2024 to an incredible $687 billion by 2028. Merchants who integrate these automated credit solutions are seeing some wild numbers. Basket sizes up to 50% larger alongside a 20% turnover gain. So this isn't just about accepting a payment anymore. It's about deploying a feature that actively increases your average order value and accelerates your overall business growth.
All right, let's get into the strategy. Section 3, the seamless checkout blueprint, engineering for conversion.
Okay, here is your condensed 4-step transformation blueprint for architecting a truly frictionless payment layer. First, map user payment habits using actual data. Please don't just guess what your audience uses. Second, leverage AI-driven orchestration and tokenize your data. This maximizes acceptance rates across multiple providers. Third, design automated one-click flows and utilize webhooks so your returning users get those beautiful instantaneous transactions. And fourth, test the failure paths. Ensure that declined cards result in a graceful retry flow, not just a dead end. And make sure you bake in your compliance early. This is exactly how you build a resilient, scalable ecosystem. Let's look at how this builds real-world value. I really want to highlight this specific, powerful metric from Softwin. Tokenization, which is the process of swapping raw card data for secure, abstract digital tokens, well, it isn't just a security and compliance necessity. Tokenized transactions actually show roughly a 9.9% higher acceptance rate compared to non-tokenized ones. This is concrete proof that premium security infrastructure directly drives measurable business growth simply by letting more legitimate transactions actually succeed. So if you take one thing away, it's this crucial point. You absolutely must treat payment integration as a core product feature, not a plumbing task. It has to be monitored, instrumented, and iterated upon with the exact same rigor as any other part of your user journey. Tracking drop-offs step by step, treating a spike in checkout errors as a full-blown critical incident, this is the kind of forward-thinking approach that separates stagnant companies from those experiencing real, rapid digital transformation. Which brings us to our final section. Section 4, pitfalls to avoid. Silent cart abandonment. Look, these are the silent revenue killers you need to audit for immediately. Offering only one payment method? That forces the customer to adapt to you instead of the other way around. Redirecting users to external, unbranded pages? That instantly erodes trust at the absolute most crucial moment of the transaction. Ignoring mobile checkout UX is just fatal when mobile drives the majority of your traffic. Skipping webhook reliability testing leads to that dreaded, I paid but didn't get an order confirmation nightmare. And finally, not testing retry flows leaves your customers totally stranded when a simple automated prompt could have easily saved the sale. This brings us to a rather stark bottom line. In the fast-paced world of digital commerce, stagnation is regression. If your checkout architecture hasn't been thoroughly reviewed, audited, and optimized in the last year, there is a very high probability that it is quietly costing you significantly more revenue than you think. You're likely just bleeding conversions to competitors who have invested in seamless, automated experiences. Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought to take back to your teens. I want you to look closely at your current infrastructure and honestly ask yourself, is your checkout experience truly invisible, frictionless, and trusted? Or is your underlying technology actually costing you the sale? It's time to optimize your platform, choose the right technology partners, and turn your checkout into your absolute most powerful engine for growth. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to architect a better digital future.